No, you don't need the.
I'm doing this my way. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend.
Talking on it though, then
He
you
a
can't put it
legend.
up later.
Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of items. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of items.
What's up, everybody? It's Pikel with League of Items, and I was very close to having a solo takedown in the Shock Blast. So yesterday, or today, there was a 5-man chop for first. Their score was 286.96. My lineup was 286.08. So I had, I missed solo first by 0.88, and that's pretty crazy. So, sucks to suck, I guess. Let's take a look at the results from that. I'll get all the results on the screen. So today, Rogue beat Vitality. That was the expected outcome. I wanted Vitality to win, but they did not. We had Astralis beat XL, and that was actually pretty surprising to me, especially the way that XL drafted. They went for Callista. Callista is not a great champion right now. I know it has a huge presence from a pick ban perspective, and there must be a lot of games that are happening in scrims where one team wins super hard in the early game, but in pro play, it just looks like it's not a very good pick throughout the world. Unless the team that drafts Callista is much better than the other team and is able to snowball. But you shouldn't be drafting that way, in my opinion. But, teams will still do it. Mad Lions beat BDS. Misfits beat Fnatic. SK Gaming upset G2 Esports. And Rogue beat Vitality. In the LCK Live Sandbox 1, Frederick Briand upset Nongshim. I never would have gotten to that. And then JDG 2-0 over World Elite, and RNG beat LNG 2-1. So yesterday, I think overall was pretty straightforward. For the games tomorrow, the OMG and FPX match was postponed, so there will only be four matches on the slate tomorrow. So let's talk about the two matches in China first. So first up, we have BLG against Rare Atom. Actually, I got to think about this real quick. I just got off the golf course. BLG against Rare Atom. Top Esports against EDG. I think that EDG is in a good spot there. From a DraftKings perspective, I think it's helpful. Guangdong Freaks, I like them for the win over KT Rolster. It looks like that number got flopped. I think Guangdong opened up as the favorites. So the team that I am the least interested in playing tomorrow morning is probably Rare Atom. Rare Atom's in last place. KT Rolster is probably second to last place. DRX would be the sixth team. Fifth team is probably BLG. I'm not super excited to play them, even though I think that they should beat Rare Atom. I think that'll be a low scoring series. So I should probably have Guangdong above them. And then EDG is an interesting upset. Then I would say it's probably T1 and then EDG and then Top Esports. So let's just go in the correct order then. So the team that I want to play the most tomorrow morning is EDG. I think that they are better. They should be a plus 140 dog based on how the season has gone so far. But I think from a talent perspective, that EDG can compete with Top Esports, and then Top Esports should bring the best out of EDG from a DraftKings perspective. So if Top Esports loses one of these games, I would expect it to be very bloody. The second team that I'd want to get in is T1. I think that T1 is better than DRX. I hope that DRX wins, but for DraftKings, I would probably just bet try to get T1 players into my roster so that it's an emotional free roll in the match. If I play a lineup tomorrow morning and DRX upsets T1, then I'll be happy. I don't care if I lose $15, you know? So we have Top Esports, then we have T1, or we have EDG, then we have T1, then we have Top Esports. I think that it should be a 3-game series. It could, theoretically, maybe you could stack if these other series don't, if there aren't many sweeps. Like, I think that's possible. You're probably not going to do that on a 4-game slate, though. So we have EDG, then T1, then Top Esports, then Kwangdong Freaks. I think that the fact that they are, they're more expensive on DraftKings. They're the more expensive team on DraftKings, so it's not as that makes it an even better play. If I'm being honest with you, the fact that they are underdogs but priced up means that less people will play them. I think that that's a good spot to be different. That'll depress their ownership for sure. So I want EDG in my lineups first, then T1, then Top Esports, then Kwangdong, then BLG, because I do think that BLG wins over Rare Atom. I am a little concerned about the matchup. I don't think that it's the best matchup for DraftKings scoring, but BLG hasn't been very good, so it could turn into them struggling to close out a game. Then that would be followed up by Rare Atom. I think that Rare Atom, if they are able to upset Billy Gaming, it's not going to be a huge upset. So if they're able to accomplish that, it could get pretty bloody. Billy Gaming has given up some big kill scores so far this this season. And then I guess that makes DRX the team I want to play the least. I can justify emotional free rolling them. That sounds about right. So, like I said, EDG is the team that I want to play the most. If I'm playing EDG, I want Viper as my captain. I think that that's pretty straightforward. You want to get Jaja, you want to get Scout. And then this is really the difficult part. So, Flandre, you could get one of these slots in, but you might also just want to play EDG. I don't know if I like the DRX matchup for DraftKings reasons. Carrier. So something like this, an EDG T1 stack, I'd be very interested in that. You can probably get a bunch of different combinations that are interesting. If you're afraid that it's going to be duplicated too much, then swap out one of the players to a third team or switch out the team slot to try to get unique. I totally understand that. That's pretty much it for the LPL and the LCK. It's going to come down to what do you think about the last match, and then can you fit the T1 players in there, hoping that they get a 2-0 over DRX. I think that T1's team slot is a pretty good play, because even if they're low kill score games, I could see it being like very slow, a bunch of dragons, need 1 or 2 barons to finish off the game, get every tower, and just have like a long drawn out game. That's actually a spot where I would be happy if DRX was super aggressive. BLG is way too expensive. BLG is way too expensive. So I think that BLG will be lower owned because of their pricing. From that perspective, man, you can't even really do this. Almost. Maybe throw EDG in there. You probably have to swap out something else too. So it's going to be tough. Like, I think that if you want to be super different, Kwangdong Freaks and BLG, trying to get those guys into your lineup would be interesting as well, because pricing-wise, I think people are going to get pushed away from them. So that's that. Let's go to the LEC. So in the LEC, we already went through the results. The matches for tomorrow, we have XL against SK Gaming. XL is a huge favorite. We have Mad Lions against Astralis. Mad Lions is a huge favorite. Rogue against BDS. Rogue is a huge favorite. Misfits against G2. G2 is a big favorite. A relatively big favorite. And then Fnatic against Vitality. Fnatic is a relatively big favorite. One thing that I said in Discord last night was, if you think that Misfits or Vitality will win their matches today, and you want to bet on them for Saturday, you should make that bet now before the games happen. And the reason is because if Misfits goes out there and looks good, or if Vitality goes out there and looks good against tough competition, then people are going to be more willing to make that bet. So, I bet the Misfits line opened up higher than plus 177. But let's take a look at this for DraftKings again. So XL against SK. SK is my least favorite team tomorrow. I don't want to play them at all. I don't care that they just beat G2. That's kind of a fluke in my mind. I don't think that SK is a good team. Basically in any way. From a pricing perspective, XL's in an okay spot from a pricing perspective, but they're going to make more sense as a secondary stack. I think they're probably just too expensive for a primary stack. Mad Lions against Astralis. This is an interesting match. I think that what Astralis showed today is that they're more than happy to play the scaling side of matchups. I think that Mad Lions is pretty regularly going to try to leverage it, index into the early game. So we could see a game that's very similar to the one that we saw today. So the difference would be, can Mad Lions convert from that position? It's possible, of course. I would expect Mad Lions to build up a sizable advantage in the early and mid game. So Mad Lions, I am interested in them. And then Astralis, if SK is 10, I would say BDS is 9. G2 is probably 8. Not super interested in G2. Just in general, I think they're overrated at this point. So we have SK in 10th, BDS in 9th. I'm not playing a team up against Rogue. I'm not playing a bad team up against Rogue. Then G2. I don't want to play G2. I'd be more interested in playing Misfits. I'm gonna throw XL down there because I don't like that matchup for DraftKings purposes. So let me have XL down there. So those two teams are gone. Mad Lions against Astralis. I'm gonna pencil them in at number 2 for now. Rogue. Maybe from a pricing perspective, Mad's just a better play. Yeah, let's do that. Mad, then Rogue is number 2. Fnatic and Vitality both coming off of losses. I'm going back to Vitality. I know it's a sickness at this point. So we have Mad. I think Mad is the team I want to play the most. Rogue is second most. Vitality is third because I want that upset. Misfits is fourth, projecting another upset over G2. Fnatic would be fifth. And I could, if you said you want to play Fnatic against Vitality because Vitality is bloody in a lot of their losses, I totally understand. I'm not saying that's a bad play. It's just I prefer the upset side because the fact that they are the underdogs suggests that they should be lower owned. Then we have Mad Astralis. I think I'd rather play Astralis than XL or G2, just because if I was using it to hedge against Mad Lions, or if it turned out the same way as it did today, I think that's a good scenario for Astralis to... If the draft goes the same way, Astralis is in a very good spot for DraftKings scoring if Mad isn't able to convert from their gold lead. So I think that probably want Mad. I would just always suggest trying to fit in Elyoya as the captain first. I think today Unforgiven was a little bit better DraftKings scoring. But this is why I do stuff like this, is because I know that I could throw in like misfits. So if I have Elyoya captain, I can get a good secondary stack. Like I just need misfits or vitality to make the upset, and I'm alive. That might get popular though. Yeah, so that you can get the AD captain in with that, and then you can also get the AD captain in with vitality, and maybe even Fnatic. No, that one's not working. Okay, so that's the one that you would probably have to do. Elyoya captain with Fnatic, Elyoya captain with Fnatic secondary stack, or with misfits and vitality. Just thinking that people aren't going to go in that direction with the underdogs. And then if you want to have Unforgiven as your captain, you're really going to have to find an underdog that you want to play it with. So Astralis makes a lot of... Or actually, no. Not Astralis. Misfits and Vitality both make sense as good underdog options to stack with the favorites that are on the slate tonight. So I think that's the direction that you'd want to explore first. I'm not locking that one in yet. And then last but not least, we have the LCS. So the LCS is back. So let me just cancel that out. All right, so game one, 100 Thieves against FlyQuest. 100 Thieves, obviously the better team, better in basically every role. 100 Thieves has not been dominant so far this split. The FlyQuest matchup is a pretty good matchup, and I'm fine just going with 100 Thieves winning as the favorites. I don't think I'm going to play FlyQuest here. I would rather they lose. I'm not playing Dignitas against EG, so Dignitas is my least favorite play tomorrow. EG is pretty expensive. Yeah, EG's expensive. Looks like a good spot for a Jojo Pyun captain. So let's start off with that. And then everybody else is super expensive. So I think default EG is my favorite my favorite team to stack every time. Then we have C9 against TSM. TSM's making some roster changes and stuff. I really don't know what that's going to do for DraftKings purposes. They're not going to have Huni. They're not going to have Tactical. They're not going to have Mia. It's really bizarre. I think that you kind of just have to have C9 in there. I would say that I probably don't want to use C9 as a primary stack though, because I would assume that TSM's players aren't going to go out there and just totally int the entire game, because they know how bad that would look. And then CLG against Immortals, Dokla against Revenge, Contracts and Kenvi. Lost Ignore. This is a spot where I feel like you have to play Immortals. So I'm interested in Immortals. CLG, I'm just going to play it as if they lose. And then Team Liquid against GG. So I guess Team Liquid against GG. Team Liquid against Golden Guardians. Okay, so just after our first pass, I think that my favorite team tomorrow is going to be Evil Geniuses. Second favorite team, Team Liquid against Golden Guardians. I think that the other favorites on the slate tonight, the other three like main teams from the LCS, 100 Thieves, Team Liquid, and C9. I think that obviously they're all favored to win, and I understand why they're favored to win. The question is, do I want to play them on DraftKings? I don't have a compelling reason to play any of them on DraftKings outside of salary. So whichever team fits in the best from a salary perspective, and the one that's hopefully the lowest owned is what I'll be chasing. So I think 100 Thieves against FlyQuest will probably be the lowest owned. So I'm going to say Evil Geniuses first, 100 Thieves second, Team Liquid third, because they really need to start putting some better performances out there on tape. I think I would maybe rather play Immortals than a couple of those teams. Like, I'd rather have my entire day depend on like an upset. That's just kind of how I look at it. So throw that in there. And then, so I mean, a team like that just looks good to me, where you get a 4-stack out of Evil Geniuses. You're projecting an upset with Immortals over CLG. You have 200 left over. Could I upgrade anywhere? Not really. Yeah, so I'm looking at that tomorrow. I'm just going to throw that in right now. So let's say it once again. So first match of the day, 100 Thieves against FlyQuest. I'm on the 100 Thieves side. I think that 100 Thieves is the second best team for DraftKings tomorrow. They're the second best favorite on the slate, in my opinion. The best favorite on the slate is Evil Geniuses. Their play style is very bloody. I think that I just want to play them every single time, no matter what. TSM and Cloud9. I think that Cloud9 is the better side. I would be surprised if they lost this match. The problem is, do I think TSM is going to give up 20, 25 kills with a roster with some new players? I really don't think that's going to happen. So it's not a great... there's nothing really backing that. It's just I think that players are generally more tentative the first time that they hit the stage. Then we have CLG against Immortals. I'm going to be on Immortals there. I think that it's a good spot as an underdog, and it's the best underdog on the slate outside of, I could see why people would say FlyQuest would maybe be the better underdog, but those are the two underdogs those are the only two underdogs I would really consider. And then Team Liquid against Golden Guardians. Team Liquid coming off of the layoff. I would think that if anybody's going to take those 2 weeks and really do something, it's the better teams that were struggling. So that's really it for tomorrow. That's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.